What if I told you the fastest way to go broke is trying to look rich? Sounds crazy, right? But here's the truth. Real wealth is quiet, invisible, and often hiding in plain sight. Some of the wealthiest people you'll ever meet don't wear designer clothes, don't drive flashy cars, and don't live in mega mansions. Instead, they blend right in. And that's exactly why they're rich. See, society has trained us to believe that rich equals status symbols, the luxury watch, the brand new car, the house so big you need a map to find the kitchen. But that's not wealth. That's just expensive debt dressed up as success. I'm David, and in today's video, we're diving deep into one of the biggest money paradoxes of all time. Why the smartest path to building wealth is to actually look poor. And listen, I'm not talking about wearing torn up sneakers or driving a car that's one breakdown away from the junkyard. What I mean is living modestly, spending below your means, and building quiet financial power that nobody can see, until one day everyone wonders how you did it. Stick with me, because in this video, I'm going to break down 7 powerful reasons why looking poor is actually the secret weapon to getting rich and staying rich. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll start seeing money and your lifestyle in a completely different way. All right, let's start with the first reason. And honestly, this one alone can save you from years of financial headaches. Looking rich is the fastest way to go broke. Think about it. How many times have we seen someone finally start making good money and immediately upgrade their lifestyle? They get the brand new car, the bigger house, the luxury vacations, all at once. They look rich. But here's the brutal truth. If you spend everything you make, you're not rich. You're broke with fancy receipts. Take professional athletes, for example. A young athlete might suddenly start making $20,000 a month. Sounds like a dream, right? But then they buy a $2 million mansion, a fleet of sports cars, designer clothes, and before you know it, their expenses are also $20,000 a month or more. The problem? That career doesn't last forever, and when the money slows down, the bills don't. That's why so many athletes go bankrupt just a few years after retirement. And here's the kicker, this doesn't just happen to athletes, it happens to regular people too. If you're making $5,000 a month, but you're spending $5,000 a month, you are just one emergency away from financial disaster. It doesn't matter if it's $5,000, $20,000, or $50,000. If all of it is gone, you're not building wealth. That's why looking poor, or rather living modestly, is the smarter move. It's sustainable. You spend less, save more, and instead of impressing strangers, you're securing your future. 2. Looking rich chains you to liabilities. Here's something schools never teach you. The difference between assets and liabilities. Assets make you money. Liabilities drain your money. Now, guess which one people buy when they want to look rich? That's right, liabilities. The new car financed with a loan, the house with a crushing mortgage, the designer clothes slapped on a credit card. The problem is, liabilities feel good in the moment. That new car smell? Amazing. The brand new phone? Exciting. The bigger house? Feels like success. But every single one of those comes with payments. Payments that tie your financial future to a treadmill you can never get off. When you look rich, you're really just signing contracts with debt. And debt doesn't care about your lifestyle. Debt just wants to be paid with interest. Now, when you choose to look poor instead, you flip the script. You spend less on liabilities, which frees up money to invest in assets. Instead of paying interest on debt, you're earning interest on investments. You're buying stocks, real estate, building your emergency fund, things that actually give you money back. This is why modest living is powerful. The person with the boring car in the modest house often has way more actual wealth than the person with the mansion and the luxury SUV. One is owned by the bank, the other owned outright. Big difference. 3. Looking rich traps you in survival mode. Here's the scary part. Once you start down the look rich path, it's almost impossible to escape. Why? Because liabilities create a cycle that forces you into survival mode. It works like this. You make money, you spend it on looking rich, you run out, you need more money, you make more, you spend it again. Sound familiar? That's survival mode. You're not building wealth. You're just working to cover bills, debt, and liabilities. And the bigger your rich lifestyle, the heavier that burden becomes. And this is why so many people feel trapped in jobs they hate. They've built a lifestyle so expensive that leaving it isn't an option. That dream house becomes a prison. That luxury car is just a shiny ball and chain. But when you look poor, you escape survival mode. Your expenses are low, which means you can breathe. You can save, invest, and actually grow wealth instead of just chasing the next paycheck. Over time, your assets start paying you. And that's when you escape the hamster wheel completely. The truth is, people who look rich usually end up slaves to their lifestyle. People who look poor, they end up free. And that's just the start. We've covered how looking rich makes you broke, ties you down with liabilities, and traps you in survival mode, but it doesn't stop there. Number 4, looking rich changes how people treat you. Here's something most people don't think about. Money doesn't just change your life, it changes how other people see you. When you start looking rich, people treat you differently. Friends might expect you to pick up the bill. Family members suddenly come to you with emergencies. Strangers might size you up and assume you can afford to pay more. And worst of all, you attract people who only want you for your money. Think about it. If you roll up in a luxury car, wearing designer clothes, flashing the latest iPhone, you're basically announcing to the world, hey, I have money. And guess what? The world listens. Now compare that to someone who looks average. Jeans, t-shirt, modest car. Nobody thinks twice. People treat them as equals. They're not targeted, not pressured, not drained by fake friendships. They get to live life on their own terms without constantly defending their wallet. Looking poor protects you. It keeps your relationships authentic. You know that the people around you are there for you, not for your lifestyle. 5, wealth is built through small decisions, not big ones. One of the biggest myths about getting rich is that it happens overnight, like winning the lottery or stumbling into some giant business deal. But here's the truth. Real wealth is just the result of thousands of small, boring, smart decisions. Think about building a house. It's not one giant brick that makes the foundation strong. It's like it's hundreds of little bricks stacked day after day. Money works the same way. Choosing a smaller house that saves you money every single month. Driving a reliable car instead of financing a luxury one. Cooking at home instead of spending $40 on takeout every night. These don't look flashy, they don't make you look rich, but they save you money. Money that can be invested into assets that grow over time. And just like those bricks, these small decisions compound into something massive. Even this YouTube channel you're watching right now, it didn't blow up overnight. It grew because of daily consistency, small improvements, and countless decisions that added up. Wealth works exactly the same way. Looking poor forces you to focus on those daily choices, and those are the exact choices that make you rich in the long run. 6, true wealth never needs to prove itself. Here's the funny thing about people who look rich. Most of them aren't. They're drowning in debt, scraping by to maintain the image, and constantly trying to convince the world they're successful. But real wealth doesn't care about appearances. Real wealth is quiet. It's the kind of wealth that lets you sleep peacefully at night because you know your bills are covered, your investments are growing, and you have options. That's the thing. Options are the real flex. The option to walk away from a toxic job, the option to take time off and spend it with family, the option to retire early or start a business or travel without worrying about credit card debt. When you're truly wealthy, you don't need to prove it to anyone. Your money is working for you, not against you. And that freedom, that peace of mind, is something no amount of flashy possessions can compete with. So the next time you see someone dripping in designer brands, ask yourself, are they really rich or are they just trying to look rich? Because chances are, the wealthiest person in the room is the one you'd never suspect. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, like the ultimate payoff of all this. Because at the end of the day, it's not about looking poor for the sake of it. It's about what you get in return. Financial peace, freedom, and a life you don't need to escape from. 7. Financial peace will always be better than looking rich. Let's be honest. Deep down, we all like nice things. When you drive past that massive mansion or see someone pull up in a brand new luxury car, it's natural to wonder, what would it be like to live like that? And sure, those things look exciting on the outside, but here's the truth nobody talks about. What's even more exciting is not having to worry about money ever again. Here's the mindset shift. Possessions don't give you freedom, like peace of mind does. And peace of mind only comes when you live modestly, build wealth quietly, and refuse to get trapped in the cycle of looking rich. See, here's the beautiful irony. The very people who look poor, the ones with the faded t-shirt, the used Honda, the modest home, often have more freedom, security, and wealth than the ones showing off. The truth is, wealth isn't about what the world sees. It's about what the world doesn't see. Your savings, your investments, your options, that's where true power lies. And when you choose financial peace over flashy possessions, you win twice. You protect yourself from stress, debt, and fake relationships. And you gain a life filled with freedom, flexibility, and opportunity. So here's the takeaway. Stop worrying about looking rich. Wear the simple t-shirt, drive the older car, live in the modest home, because every time you choose not to impress strangers, you're actually buying something way more valuable. Your future freedom. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to be rich in the ways that matter. Rich in time, rich in options, and rich in peace of mind. And if anyone disagrees with that, they've simply lost sight of what's truly important in this world.